Greetings and welcomes, it's Duckville here today, bringing you some Heart of the Swarm action. We're going to have a look at a 1v1 between two of, at the moment, definitely some of my favourite players in the European scene. He is, our Red Zerg player down the bottom left-hand side of Whirlwind has been a winner just recently, pulling in a big win at the UK ESET Masters, which was really good tournament. Hopefully you got to see some of that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see too much because it was on at a little bit of an awkward time for me. It was on at like 3 AM in the morning or something for me. And unfortunately, I don't love esports that much, but I'll certainly try next time. It is Team Liquid Snute. He's going to be our Red Zerg down here. His opponent up at the top left-hand side. You would have seen in chat, he apparently had a little bit of a problem with the hold position button in their previous game from FXOBabyKnight. It is my favourite Protoss player, BabyKnight. And we'll see how he goes. Of course, on this very large map, of course, as everyone will know, we've got a lot of space to work with on Whirlwind. Of course, very simple, nice, easy to take, a natural expansion. Big ramp at the bottom there, just in case you need to, fend off against anything early. Of course, you've got a third base that is pretty easy to take in certain situations. Of course, it depends on how you play. Of course, a Zerg player, instead of wanting to go across to this little base just along here, they'll want to just start heading across the map away from their opponents. So we'll probably see Snute go along in that direction just to make sure he can stay as far away from BabyKnight's bases as possible. And we do see the BKs are actually going to start out with a gateway in the main, going for a gas as well. So he's going to go for one of these sort of new age sort of builds. Well, you know, you think of it as a new age sort of thing. Sometimes people would do it at Wings of Liberty, but it was considered very risky, very sort of, ooh, that guy's a bit crazy. What's he going to do here? But this is going to be one of those cyber-based builds inside the main, not walling off, not really caring at all, giving zero about the front door, not worried about any sort of early harassment by Snute, who of course is going to be picking up a spawning pool after his quick expansion down to the natural. And we'll probably see just a relatively passive start to this game. I don't really expect, just given the distances of this map, I don't really expect BabyKnight to try and push too hard with those initial gateway units, because by the time he walks a Zealot all the way down here, of course, look at all this distance he has to cover. I have to move the mouse back, that's how far it is. You have to go all the way back up there. It is a long way to walk for those basic sorts of units. So what he's going to do is just invest in a second gas here, and this could be interesting. We'll see how he proceeds with that. But as I was saying, by the time he gets down there, he's probably going to have a few too many Zerglings to deal with, maybe even a queen or two. And in fact, with the two queens now on the way, they're definitely going to finish before any sort of pressure can come along. So we'll see. I would expect to see the Mothership Core to come out from BabyKnight, and it looks as if he will get a couple of units out initially, with the Warp Gate researching as quickly as possible. Of course, for Snute, he's going to be aware that this is here. He can see the Cybernetics Core, and you're sort of thinking, what does that mean for Snute? What is he going to do now? This sort of means that he cannot expand to the third base as quickly as you would normally like to. Normally, in a standard sort of Forge Fast expansion build, a Zerg player will want to actually take their third base extremely quickly, picking up this as fast as possible so that they can get their economy going while they sit back and the Protoss hides behind a wall of Forge, Cannon, Gateway, these kinds of things. So, but now, given that BabyKnight has been able to get started on his Warp Gate tech, as we can see, it's already over halfway done, there is a very possible threat of some kind of 3 to 4 base attack coming along. So what Snute's done here is a very safe thing. He's delayed his third just a little bit. He already has, he's got the 2 queens out. He's getting a third on the way. He's also picked up the Zergling speed, takes a couple of the drones out of the gas inside the main so that he can try and get himself back to that position where he would have wanted to be before. So is just a little slight change to how this particular opening is started up for both of these players. At the moment, BabyKnight's still unaware of where his opponent is just at the moment, but he will find out very shortly, given that this probe is just about to head across to the other side of the map. And once he knows that he's not here, you can obviously assume that Snute is going to be down in at the bottom left-hand side. So we'll see what BabyKnight is going to do after this. Just for the moment, it looks like we're going to finish off that wall, so it is going to take us to a total of 3 gates. This is very similar to a build that BabyKnight used to use to go into DTs against Zerg players, which, I would be a little bit surprised to see that on this map, and given the quality of our Liquid Zerg player here. But Snute, He could be a little bit underprepared for those DTs if they come about, but as I said, I would be a little bit surprised if BK goes for that kind of play. I don't think we'd expect to see that right here on this map, but Snute, well, he's going to have a little poke out on the map, wants to try and stop this the probe from getting too much pesky stuff done out on the map. Of course, getting a pylon down would be the start of that, but Snute is going to stop it, thinks that BabyKnight's going to cancel, but he actually doesn't, so he has to polish that off. Looks like the few units did come along and have a quick look at what was at the front. A hallucinated Phoenix for BabyKnight is going to do the scouting though, because he was not able to get inside and see what his opponent was up to. So what he wants to do is check, is there a third base here? Can I play a nice safe little macro style? And yes, I can. The third base is there. We've already got quite a few drones starting out there now as well. He's also going to have a quick look inside the main, sees the lair coming about, and then we'll just double check the natural and see what's going on there. Okay, everything is pretty standard. There's no sorts of crazy amounts of gas coming out from the Zerg player. There's no need to, prematurely get ready for Mutalisks or anything like that. So what he can do is get his Twilight Council going, and then possibly look to maybe do some harassment here. Of course, he doesn't have the proxy pylon out on the map anymore, but what he will be able to do is use some good force fields here if he can just protect the sentries, and of course make a very thin sort of position for the Zerglings to attack into. Then he may be able to get some kills here, but it looks like Snute has actually gone around the long way, may be able to get inside of main, but a Zealot on hold position is going to block that off. And now we actually have, well, it's just the Phoenix just poking about. I don't know why the Zerg Queen was a little bit worried about that, but roaches do come about, and it looks like BK will have to return back home. Picks up the recall, takes it all back home, and they're gonna go back for some tea and biscuits, because you know there's no real way to attack into this third base, given that those roaches are out, given that there are some Zerglings roaming around the map. So, as I said, pretty passive start to the game for the moment. We've got Snute just going up to a total of 57 drones for him. At his, of course, at his 3 bases that he's got up. You could probably expect that he'll head across and maybe grab a 4th base very soon. In fact, he's going to go do that right now. For BabyKnight, however, he's got his 53 probes out on the map and is just sitting comfortably right now, getting his tech going. We got +2 on the weapons on the way, and of course inside the main base, a couple more gateways, but no real follow-up tech is coming out of BabyKnight just as yet. So we're yet to sort of see what he's going to go for. You can assume, of course, with the Twilight Council there, that it is going to be something along the lines of the Templar tech. But with the Robo now about as well, he's going to be able to get some extra protective forces. And with constant scouting, BabyKnight's going to be aware of what Snute is up to. For Snute, however, as we can see, we've got a lot of lings out on the map. Of course, these roaches coming about, harkening back to the old days of a lot of roaches, a lot of lings, just sort of harassing the Protoss' third base, trying to keep them from establishing that third, because as everyone knows, if the Protoss picks up that third base, then things just sort of move into that mid to late game stage where it can get a little bit more difficult for a Zerg player. So Snute's just going to sit back. He's going to pick up the extra gases in all of his bases here. We've got the Infestation Pit researching the pathogen glands. We also have the +1 on the Carapace also being researched right now, and just a whole bunch of Zerglings. So he's not really looking to really go for a killing blow, I would say, right here, right now, especially given that BabyKnight has some really good preparations for any kind of Ling Roach harassment here. So we do see that Snute is forced back. The Lings are going to try and keep those units just back inside. He doesn't want these units moving out too far, because of course he doesn't really have a fantastic force to sort of deal with it if they can get into a good position. So Snute's going to just sit back, going to have a quick look, maybe keep these units on their toes here, and it looks like he will actually try and take down some of these rocks, but with some good force fields, BabyKnight is able to cut down some of those roaches before they can escape. Nicely done there. Not really getting a massive amount, but I mean, the thing is, he did get some, and that's a nice way to sort of open up the score tally there for our Protoss player from FXO. Looks like he is going to scout out what's going on. The Swarm Host now coming into play. The Phoenix did see those there. Hopefully BabyKnight was able to find that, but as you can see, double Robo. This is one of the best ways to try and deal with this particular strategy is on the way here. Getting those Colossi pumping out, extended thermal lance being chrono boosted as well. Of course, a lot of times you will see a lot of Zerg players have started really trying out this kind of strategy, going for the mid-game sort of 3 to 4 base play here, and it looks like BabyKnight is going to get caught out in the open here. Zerglings surrounding basically everything there. Roach is doing the work as well, and it looks like BabyKnight loses everything except some of those Stalkers. So he is forced back right now, loses the one Immortal that he had in the Force as well, but the Colossi are about to pop out. They'll be able to add in quite a lot of damage here, but the issue will be, does he have enough to force back the Locusts coming out of these Swarm hosts, because they are getting a little bit too close for comfort right here, and without, you sort of need about 3 to 4, and then upwards. It kind of depends on how far the Zerg is going to invest in these little burrowed little annoying things. Of course, you know, you do need to start increasing that Colossus count very quickly. They do burn through the Locusts quite nicely, but of course, if you have like, you know, 10 to 15 the sort of swarm hosts sitting out the side here, just constantly sending in those Locusts, then it can be a little bit difficult to try and force them back. And as we can see, Snute, he is continuing to get the tech back at home. +1 on the missile weapons there, along with +2 on the Carapace as well. He's also getting the Groove Spines and the Muscular Augments for those Hydras as well. So Snute is just preparing for that this harassment to continue, and we'll see how he is going to continue with this, knowing that BabyKnight must have 2 Robos, considering how fast he got out these 4 Colossi. So you should know that there are those extra Colossus there, and this is a point where a lot of Zerg players have to be very, very careful. Of course, he's going to get some really good damage done here. It looks like the Locust and the Lings getting inside, taking down that Nexus, so the third of BabyKnight does go down, and this is the point, yep, good movement by Snute. You don't want to overcommit to this. He's, you know, a lot of players I've seen in some replays will sort of come across, they'll put down the Locust, attack into this third base, and then take it out, and then say, alright, that's all good. We're going to have to, you know, we can push in further. It's easy to do. Wrong. What you want to do is just sort of take your time with it, because of course if a Protoss is knocked down to just the 2 properly mining bases, they can't get these Colossi out as quickly as they would like to. As you can see by the Vespene gas counter there, of course BabyKnight is a little bit further behind where he would like to be right now, given that these Locusts are going to continue to harass him from afar. And this is the point where a Zerg player, you have to sit there and think, alright, well, you know, now that I've knocked down that third, what's he going to do? He's going to have a lot less space to cover to try and defend, so that means that the possibility of these breakouts with these Colossus can be very, very dangerous, and that's what you see happen quite a lot, is that the Protoss players will get out like 6, even 8 Colossi out on the map, and just burn a path through the Zerg player. No matter how many swarm hosts you have, once you get to that critical mass of Colossi, where it's around about sort of 6 to 7 of those big powerful units, you can just start burning through all the Locusts and then the Swarm hosts shortly after that. But Snute doing a good job here with his Roaches, keeping BabyKnight on his toes, attempts to go for the run by inside the main, but a good warp in by BabyKnight blocks that off, the Roaches go down, and as we can see, it looks like we will have Swarm hosts now coming out, just sucking out some of the life of these buildings here. No buffet building. Oh, there you go. We've got some interesting buffet buildings from Snute. He's got some of these Spore Crawlers out on the map. Of course, these guys aren't too beefy in terms of their health, but they are very cheap. Not to mention, they give you the added bonus of some air protection, not only against those the observers which may come about trying to spot the Swarm host, but also against the Colossus and any Void Rays. So I really like this decision here. Buffet buildings, of course, if you weren't aware, is the terminology I'm using for these kinds of buildings that Zergs use to power up their Vipers. It's a little bit, you know, they're eating off their buildings, so it's a buffet building. I don't know, work with me here, people. But 7 Colossi now out for BabyKnight. He's been persistent in keeping that count going up, as you can see right there. Bam! Good night to those Locusts. They go down quick smart, and it looks like we'll have to see some good usage of these Vipers here from Snute. It looks like he is bringing them across, maybe able to get some good deductions out, and if he can pull out some of those Colossi, he'll be very happy about that. We've got at least 1 abduction here. Nope, it's 2 now. Pulls out 1. Does he pull out a second Colossus? No, leaves it for the time being, but does get a small victory with that first Colossus kill. So BabyKnight back down to a count of 6. He does have some Archons. Of course, Storm is being researched right now, so there is a little bit of a switch of his counter tech coming along from BabyKnight. It looks like Snute just walking along. Of course, this is the added bonus of the Spore Crawlers. I didn't even think of this before. These guys can walk around with your Vipers. If you need to move your defensive position, you can just move the Spore Crawlers with you, and then if need be, you can borrow them and get some detection going off to find out if there are DTs or observers or anything like that. But of course, the main purpose therefore is for picking up some energy on these Swarm hosts. And now with the Hydras up to 2-2 on their upgrades, we've got Ultras here as well on their 2-0 at the moment. moment. Not really heavily invested in those just as of yet is Liquid Snute, but PvZ does have a very powerful force here. He's got 0, 2, 3 on those upgrades, and it looks like we'll get a couple of abductions here. PvZ getting pulled right into the mix there, and it looks like a couple of Colossi going down. The Hydra's forced to retreat. We'll see the Vipers picking up some more energy out of those Spore Crawlers very quickly, but this is the really nice way that Snute is playing this out. He's playing very patient. We've got these Spore Crawlers here for the energy as well. Would love to see some more of them. I like... He is going to pick up some more Evo Chambers. Of course, the Evo Chambers have a lot more health and technically are a little bit more viable for their cost ratio. But, you know, I still think the Spore Crawlers are a pretty cool idea from Snute. But he's going to continue to pressure here. Meanwhile, while all this has been going on, Snute been doing a fantastic job with his macro. He's up to a total of, well, 59 drones. Not as high as it could be, but he is able to get a 5th base across to the side there. He's got his 4th, of course, has been established for quite a while. And PvZ, well, he is attempting to get his own 4th base established here, and with a couple of abducts, it looks like some more Colossi will go down. Will we see multiple abducts? Yes! Pulls one of the Colossi back and is able to take it down. The other 2 were badly hurt in that fight, but it looks like PvZ will be able to stabilize and hold his position right here. I think if PvZ can, he knows if he can just hold this base for a little bit longer. Of course, it is at the front line. We've got a lot of cannons here. Of course, the main force of PvZ is here to defend. If he can just hold this up, get a lot of cannons down maybe at this base. There you go, adding a few more in. He will be in a very nice position. Of course, he really wants to just make sure that he's very patient, getting his tech coming along. We've got the +3 on the shields. We're still continuing to see those Colossi being brought out by the FXOBabyKnight, and it looks like a couple of abducts there. Unfortunately, mistimed. Does pull one of them back and gets a kill on that with the Ultra. But here is the breakout from PvZ. Storm's going down all over the place here, and they are just tearing apart those swarm hosts, the Locusts as well, along with some of those Hydras. And PvZ has said it is time. He is coming out here. He is under attack at his 4th base, so a couple of Hydras and Ultras have snuck their way across. I'm not sure how an Ultra sneaks away, but somehow it has gotten across to the 4th base, and it looks like it is going to get a sizable amount of damage. So PvZ is forced to retreat for the time being, pulling the Stalkers and the Colossi back. If Snute can maybe save these... Nope, he's not going to save those, he's just going to let them go. But he is going to continue to build them up. 4 more Ultralisks on the way, along with +3 weapons. +1 on the missile attack, on the melee attacks is finally coming along. And the continued production of the swarm hosts. I'm very surprised about that. Normally at this sort of stage, you probably would see a Zerg player switch into a lot more of the gas investment will go into the Ultras, and of course some of these Vipers as well, which are a really key unit to have at this stage of the game. But Snute is going to get in some more of those swarm hosts as well, so we will see him continue that subterranean assault. Well, I suppose it's subterranean for a minute, and then it's like above ground for whatever, you know what I mean. And so Snute will continue to get those units out. It looks as if he is going to just try and hold this middle position here with that Zelnaga Watchtower. Or he doesn't have it anymore, but he do get quite a lot of vision here. Of course, he does have the creep spread through the middle as well, continuing to push that out. These couple of extra buffet buildings here are helping out with those Vipers, but Snute, he is starting to lose a little bit of his power throughout this map. Of course, PvZ now up to 190 supply. We've got a huge count of Colossus here. We've got, how many have we got? We got 7 Colossi, 3 Archons. We're going to have more Archons very soon, I would assume. Not to mention 5 Templar out, 13 Stalkers, and a few Zealots also out in the pack as well. Meanwhile, for Snute, of course, he has these 10 Swarm hosts out there, the 4 Vipers, 6 Ultras, and of course, the large contingent of Hydras. 18 Hydras out on the map at the moment. So he is continuing to just sort of bring the main force through to the middle section of the map here. He just wants to sort of see if he can just sort of choke up his opponent. If he can cut off some of these extra bases of PvZ, then he'll certainly be putting himself in an excellent position. He just needs to be very careful about the maneuvering of his units right here. As we can see, you really don't want these Hydras to be caught out of position. With a good storm, a couple of swipes of those Colossi, you may see those Hydras just burn to a crisp straight away. And in fact, speaking of which, there is a interesting abduction on a Templar there, but the majority of the forces are left unchecked, and PvZ again says this is the time for us to party, and he comes through the middle section of the map. Colossi sweeping across the plains there, tearing apart those swarm hosts, and it looks as if we will have PvZ again breaking out to just sort of clean up some of this middle section of the map. He's probably going to try and take care of the rest of these swarm hosts if he can. They've just burrowed themselves at the Zelnaga watchtower, but I'm not sure if that's the greatest idea. The Colossi just sweeping across through all sides of the middle section here, and it looks like the swarm hosts are going to go down. Perhaps not the best investment there for Liquid Snute, but he is going to lose all of those. He's going to reinvest into 10 Ultralisks. They are all going to be coming out very quickly here. They're about to pop out, but Snute has so many Colossus. I know Colossus aren't exactly the best way to try and deal with those Ultras, but I mean, when you've got 7 of those Colossus out on the map, backed up by a lot of Stalkers, you've got Templar, and even a few Immortals are being thrown into the mix here by BabyKnight. He's going to be putting himself in a very nice position here, and with the 5th base up and running, BabyKnight is going to be very, very happy with this position right now. All that he needs to do right now is just keep these power units in the mix. If he loses these Colossi, he has to rebuild them, and no one wants to do that, because rebuilding is not fun at all. Take it from me as a mech Terran, it sucks. But BabyKnight is going to have his work cut out for him, certainly, with all these Ultras now popping out. We've got a large contingent of these Hydras as well, 17 of them, along with the 4 Vipers that are still out. We actually did have them stay alive for a little bit longer. They're now taking down some, they're having some supplements from these buildings inside the main. I'm not sure taking out the Hydra Den is the best idea, but it looks like he will be able to pick up some more of that energy and then head across and try and utilize some abducts, maybe some blinding clouds. All of these kinds of things will be quite useful in fighting against this army, because, you know, the one thing that's not here that I'm very, very surprised about from BabyKnight, this isn't a massive Skytusk army. This is just a simple, very simple Stalker, Colossus, and Templar. That very powerful mix, which we always did see in Wings of Liberty, is still quite powerful now. Of course, perhaps some might say not as good as the Skytusk army, but BabyKnight is making this look pretty good right here. And the Ultralisks swarming in from both sides. We've also got Hydra sweeping in from the top. Some abducts going down as well. And as you can see, a few blinding clouds in the middle. And Snute actually does a wonderful job of taking out the majority of these units here. Perhaps he will get a pretty even trade, but I mean, these Stalkers, with their upgrades, with their maneuverability, will be able to take down the last of those Ultralisks there. There's one more to go. There he goes, and those Hydras will not have a fun time trying to fight against that. And Snute says, you know what? It's time for the Skytusk. Sorry, BabyKnight says it's time for the Skytusk, bringing out 2 Tempest on the way from these double Stargates inside the main. Only 2 Stargates, so I'm still a little bit surprised about that we haven't had a full transition, but he is also continuing to invest in these Colossi. Of course, with the large amount of Hydras that have been continually produced by Snute, he has needed to just be a little bit wary about this large presence of these high damage dealers here. Of course, they're a lot faster now in Heart of the Swarm. They do that that lovely damage, of course, what is it, 15, but at almost per second, or less than per second, so it is quite a huge amount of damage here. So BabyKnight still has to be careful, but he has established his 6th base across to the side. You will no doubt see him probably put down another Nexus, given that he has got a 2,000 mineral bank right now. And he's just going to continue to bring out these power units. We've now got the Colossi continuing to stream out of that double robo inside the main. We've got 2 Tempest already out on the map. We've got 2 more just about to complete as well. And BabyKnight is going to be very, very pleased with the situation right here. This is sort of a spot where you're sort of thinking as a Protoss player, alright, well, I think at this point the only reason that I can lose here is if I screw it up. And in fact, he even throws down a couple of Time Warps. I love that move. Just keeping these units nice and slow so the rest of his army can come across the map and catch up. But Snute is trying to look for some damage here, and I'm not sure about the positioning here. These Ultras and the Hydras are in a little bit of an awkward position. Storm's going down, Tempest from the left-hand side there as well, just obliterating the army. And BabyKnight takes a huge lead in this game, up to 178 supply. We've got all these Stalkers, we've got the Archons, the Colossi, and the Tempest from the side as well. So he is going to be sitting very comfortably right now. Snute's, one of the issues he's had here is that he's only just really started getting the mining going at these side bases. The 5th and the 6th did take quite a while to get established, and now with the 7th and the 8th bases just coming along now, he's up to 93 drones. We'll need to invest in some static defenses to deal with this army, but BabyKnight is going to be very, very comfortable right now. He will need to deal with another huge contingent of Ultras just about to pop out. We've got 9 of them. about to pop out of all their eggs. There we go. These guys have got 5-2 on their upgrades. Still a little bit behind with the melee upgrades is Liquid Snute, but I'm sure he's going to fix that up very soon. Of course, we do have the 2 Evos inside the main, and Hydra Den is not looking very comfortable right now. Just bleeding out of every orifice it's got, and Snute, well, we're still sticking with this Ultra Viper Hydra tech, and it looks like BabyKnight is just going to try and directly counter that. We've got the Colossi to deal with the Hydras. We've got the Tempest to deal with those, well, with everything, I suppose. And then you've got the Stalkers and the Archons also on the ground as well. And it looks like with some, we just will get some varying attacks across the map here. Snute just coming through the west side of the map, just taking out this base here. Not too much of an issue for BabyKnight though. Just given the fact that this base is practically mined out. Even the gas is pretty much done here, and what he's going to trade is, of course, it looks like it will be some units here. Snute perhaps overextending a little bit too far, but he's lost his 8th base. The 7th is looking to go down as well. A big group of Zealots with 3 on their upgrades are about to pop in and say hello. The drone's not going to be happy about that. The Hydra certainly wasn't, and the Ultras, just everything is very spread out here from Snute. We've got no Vipers for the backup of these units here, no blinding cloud, no nothing like that to be able to help out with these units, and with these varying attacks going on across the map, Snute is going to start losing his economy. He's already started to lose some of it. We've seen the drone count dip down. He's lost the hatchery. His hatchery down at the southern side could be in trouble as well. But I tell you what, these big boys in the army of BabyKnight are going to be the big issue for Snute. He's got no real way to deal with these Tempests. We don't even have any direct anti-air units apart from those Hydras. Of course, there are some Queens out, but Snute now starting to suffer with his gas coming in. He has invested so much into these Ultras, into the Vipers, and of course those Swarm Hosts earlier on in the game, but BabyKnight just has a massively powerful force. Looks like Snute will continue to try and get some harassment going across the map, just trying to delay his opponent before this final death push can come across the map, but I think it is all too late for the Liquid Zerg player here. The Tempest up in the air, laying down their ridiculous damage. Of course, the Resonance Coil doing 33 damage against any ground unit, and of course any air unit, unless it's massive, in which case it goes up to 85. But Snute, not giving up just yet, sends in some more Zerglings across to the 3rd base, which is, or the 4th base I should say, which is getting very close to mining out, but the Planetary Nexus Cannon of Doom is able to save the base here, and what looks to be possibly the final attack into the 5th base of Snute is going to come through, going to tear apart this hatchery here, and Snute decides to GG. So we do see him finish up after a very interesting early and mid game from the Liquid Zerg player here. He was able to do quite a lot of damage at the start, but BabyKnight just persisting, playing very patient, getting that large Colossus count out, getting some Archons, some Storm, and then taking up to the Tempest at the end, was able to take the victory here. Hope you enjoyed that match. Gonna see some new content coming up on the channel very soon, so I hope you can all stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you all next time. Still neglecting to target the Cyber. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just very surprised that Cat hasn't actually taken that down yet. It's a, it's of course one of the key buildings that a Protoss army has, and as you can see,